your money that you park somewhere in a bank will lose value. And again, I think in our younger age, I don't believe this narrative of doing 3, 4, 5, 6% per year will change anything. And now I try to play it big, as big I can play.
On this episode, I had a conversation with Alessandro Soldati. Alessandro is a serial entrepreneur from the Italian part of Switzerland, whose most recent venture is Gold Avenue. It is an online platform for buying gold, which reached 500 million euros in turnover. Alessandro shares his perspective on changing landscape of the personal wealth management space and the evolving impact of AI on our economy and society as a whole. This was a great conversation full of value for those who want to know how to preserve their wealth in 2025. I just checked S&P 500. I was quite surprised how markets are reacting to Donald Trump. It just keeps growing and growing. I wonder what's the take on that.
Yeah, but again, Trump has a very conservative politics in place. They expect to again increase their debt of 6 trillion in the next 4 years. Uh, at the same time, there is a reduction of interest rate. So automatically, we are going to see probably, this is my take, once again, like we did in 2020, an appreciation of different assets, because your money that you park somewhere in a bank will lose value, and so people will, until now with interest rate at 5%, 5.5 was interesting to receive the interest rate. Now with the rate reducing, people will start investing again. I was talking with a friend at the gym, is in the watch business, and he told me, the last couple of years were pretty bad, but they are very confident that the next year also the price of collectible assets will start to increase.
Because I'm thinking about buying a watch soon when I graduate this program in about a year. So I think it's like a good timing. I think I'll hop on the last train. And you said how people will try to invest their money more. It seems like a really good time to buy gold over the next few years again. And I know that you're an expert on gold, being CEO and founder of Gold Avenue. I think it's one of the biggest like online gold reselling platforms in Europe. So what do you think is the prospect of gold with the current economic outlook and President Trump?
Yeah, I started Gold Avenue 7 years ago, almost exactly 7 years ago, when the price of gold was 1,200 per ounce. Today we are trading at 2,700. So the price more than doubled in the last 7 years. For me, was really crazy, because I entered the market and everyone was like, gold is boring, it doesn't move so much, there is no interesting ROE. And, getting faster and faster, and the price keep skyrocketing. And the factor that influenced the price of gold are especially central banks buying, and you still have China, India, Russia keep buying a lot of physical gold. This is happening since 2010, so a very strong pressure on the price. Then you have all the war, in Ukraine with Russia, Middle East, the tension with China and the US. And then there is a lot of optimism that Trump, since the first day in January, will stop all the war, like if it was some kind of god. As it can help, he has a different approach from the current administration, but the tension will stay. It's very supportive of Israel, and I think we will still see a lot of attention. And this combined with the fact that the interest rates are going down, and that the US will have a very um, internal strong policy, I see gold honestly keep going up. Even if we are already pretty high, I don't see a lot of factors that will push price of gold going back. And I was also discussing with a journalist the other day. And what is also interesting is that nowadays, since COVID, there is more and more people investing. Maybe it's just one of my feeling, but Robinhood didn't existed, Coinbase. Everyone now talks about the crypto meme coins, so investing right and left. And tools like Gold Avenue really helps people to access physical products. And so we see new investor, people that never bought gold before, that now are, yeah, just accumulating precious metal. And so all these factors all together, I can only say, no, I'm pretty bullish for the future of gold, even if this is not a financial advice, obviously. Not. But in the US at Costco, they are selling ounce of gold millions per month. That's mind blowing.
That is crazy. That's the last place I'd expect to sell gold. Wow. But then it seems kind of in character for America, and to have gold being sold like this. No, it's pretty. It seems that gold is one of those assets that just keeps growing, and it grows especially more when there's instability, and there's plenty of instability as of late. Yeah,
Yeah, and there will be more and more instability
yeah.
in the following years.
hmm And I'm just wondering, to get back to Gold Avenue, I checked in your bio, it says it's over 500 million in turnover over the last 7 years with Gold Avenue. I just wonder, how did you come up to that idea in general? Because 7 years ago, selling gold online, how did you get there?
Yeah, so I used to have another e-commerce platform back in 2017 that I liquidated because it was not working as we were expecting. And at this moment, Spam Group, so the mother company, called me and they asked me, okay, we want you to join us to launch a retail arm for our group. We already tried in the past, it didn't work out, but we believe that now the market is mature and we want someone younger with a more fresh approach. And when I analyzed the market, there were already a lot of people selling products online, but mostly pretty whole companies that didn't evolve so much over time. And what we tried to make completely different was to let people store their physical products in our vaults, giving them quite a, kind of a digital wallet where you can see your ounces of Fortuna, silver, platinum, different specific products. And when we started, we had very, controversial comments because no one believed that the future of consuming physical gold will have been buy physical gold and store it digitally online somewhere. And so they were pretty bearish on the approach. But the reality happened that, younger generation don't want to, I have some silver here or around, but younger generation don't want to all physical products. They want to rely on someone holding for them. And if they need to liquidate the assets, they don't have to, walk around in the city and go scratch their gold to sell it.
Get ripped off, yeah.
And so we were focusing more on younger generation, but at the end we realized that even older generation that used to own gold at their place or in the bank started calling us to say, okay, I have some gold in my bank, I want to ship it to you because your solution is way simpler, because you are open 24/7, you can buy back whenever I want, I can check my portfolio, everything that I cannot do at the bank. So and we were pretty surprised at the right place, the right timing. You also need a little bit of luck. And the COVID, with all this change of behavior
Yeah.
of consumer, really pushed Gold Avenue to be where it stands today.
Mm, Yeah, very interesting. I remember when COVID started, and I talked to some of my friends and some other people who are wealthier than me, who are fund managers. A lot of them started buying up gold, and some of them bought from Gold Avenue. And that's how I found out about you. And I even bought myself gold from Gold Avenue, but I don't keep it in a digital portfolio. It is physically hidden somewhere. And it's funny because it's physical, I don't really check on it, and I completely forget about it. And I think I forgot about it about 2 years ago, and since then it like grew up so much in value. And I checked recently, I was like, damn. All right.
You almost double the value of your portfolio. To be honest with you, I have my gold at Gold Avenue, most of all, and I never check the price because it's not speculation, it's a long-term investment, and I don't really care if today is up a few thousand or down a few thousand. It's, in a couple 10 years I will check out, and hopefully in my life I will never have to sell my gold because it's only a small part of my portfolio. And if one day I need it for some reason like paying taxes or whatsoever, at least is there as a security.
Yeah, I'm sure at some point you'll have like a big chest and you draw like a map with like a little chick and the cross. That for your children or grandchildren, I think will be epic. Yeah, and I'm just wondering, you talked about having gold, and as someone who understands gold as a wealth management instrument, I wonder what is your personal finance management philosophy? How do you approach it? Because especially right now, these are very interesting times. There's a lot of volatility, but also a lot of opportunity. Well, I mean, even today, last 2 days since Trump won, like what did we have like 8% growth in S&P, which is wild.
So my personal approach, again, I have some goal. For me, the goal is, I forget about it, is to have some liquidity in case of urgency. Okay. Now, I am 34 years old. I just turned a couple of days ago. I need to get used to it. But I have no children. I have a girlfriend, but we are not married together. And at my position, uh, I think the best, I'm a not a gambler, but I say 34 years old, I cannot live on a 5% return. It will make no difference on my current way of living. Okay. So I'm mostly on very specific big play, hoping that one of the big play works well. And in some of them, and it can be anything, because I invest in startups, or I have a company on the side that is not called Avenue. I I buy crypto too. I buy NFT. I buy stock options, some specific shares. And again, I think in our younger age, I don't believe this narrative of doing 3, 4, 5, 6% per year will change anything, because anyway, I always say, how old are you, Matthew?
24.
24. Okay. So you're 24, probably hopefully in 6 years, you will make, but you're a student, so you're not making anything, no?
I mean, I work part-time. I have a
Yeah,
pretty
okay, you work part-time. But in 6 years, you will do 10 times what you're doing right now, hopefully, in terms of revenue. I- If in 6 years, you're doing 10 times your revenue today, and the investment you're doing right now increase of 5%, in 10 years, and let's say 5% per year, so a pretty good standard return, in 10 years, you will have done 50% of your current asset. But in 10 years, you don't care anymore, because you're making so much money. It's your main job, you see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I believe that younger generation, they gonna have to gamble with everything they have. They always need to have quite of security, to not get in a discomfort zone. But when it comes to investing, I'm fully aligned with this guy, 17 years old, 20 years old, playing with meme coins or doing strange things with a calculated risk. So it's not gambling, because you need to believe in something. They all always say that on Twitter, but even something, why you sold Dodge when it was 1 cent, so believe in something sometimes. Um, but you need to believe in a strategy. You have with all your researches, is not putting money there just because you're putting money there, but doing your own researches and say, okay, I believe I did a good job on that, and now I try to play it big, as big I can play. If it turned wrong, you will start again from scratch once again, but it's not a problem, because anyway, you are still living out of your salary. And when you're wrong, I think you learn a lot, and when you're right, you can ideally make a lot, and it can be life changing. And otherwise, it will never be life changing until you don't have a big enough asset to invest and make, I don't know, 5% out of 2 millions. And so, okay, I have 2 millions aside. With the 5%, I can pay my expenses, and so on and so on.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting. You said that. And I was listening to a podcast today also about a fund manager, and he said that whole perspective of saving and investing money, of getting that 3, 4, 5% return, this is something very old fashioned coming from the last century. Right now, especially for the young generation, it's not going to cut it anymore. If you really want to save money and have wealth when you graduate, or my bad, when you graduate or when you start working, you really need to invest in the stocks and take more risk. Like, for example, even investing in S&P alone in the last 5 years would do you like 80. And that is a hell lot better than 3% a year. And regarding crypto as well, and you said you take more risk. My philosophy is that I have 50% in the ETFs, which are dynamic ones, like from BlackRock and Triple Q and Vanguard, which already don't do too bad. I think semiconductor BlackRock ETF did like 56% in 2023, which is, I mean, it's pretty wild. Yes,
Really.
for an ETF. And then I have, say, 30% of my portfolio for risky stuff like this. And I think you don't even need to dive into risky stuff alone. You can always like diversify in itself. Yeah, it's very interesting. And you are still at the age of 34, you are still willing to take calculated risks in your uh,
Yeah, and
investment.
I like to see my, portfolio as a kind of pyramid where you have safe basis. And this is something I learned with the bull run, the crypto bull run. And because I did a mistake like everyone. So you should allocate, as you said, let's say 10%, 20%, 30%, depending your risk approach of your pyramid to risk investment. But at a certain moment when, you know, the pyramid start to transform like that, you should sell and reallocate and to recreate. You move from the top to the bottom to reallocate your pyramid, and you secure your gains. But you keep, the pyramid. You keep risk investment. And then if you lose all your the top of your pyramid because your calculated investment were not well calculated, then you can reallocate and you say, okay, I want to put 10% of my new pyramid on risk investment. But I think it's very important to have in mind this reallocation to avoid being at a certain moment, in love with your bags. I would say in the space, and just say, okay, the price is pumping. Let's go to the moon, to the moon, to the moon. But there is no limit to how much I can gain. No.
Yep. Yeah. And I wonder, what's your take on there's the thing where there is this crypto and the gold price is back to the crypto. What's your take on that? There's these assets that kind of copy the gold value, but in a blockchain rail.
I, you know, a mixed feeling. I think it's very useful to have gold on chain to help you optimize your gold physical assets. But now the platform that have gold on chain are probably not the most reputable company, and there is inherent risk buying this gold that is more than just buying physical gold. And so when you go on an unregulated company buying gold and they say they have it in the vault, but they don't, how you can prove it. So today it's very, you need to be very cautious where you're buying your digital gold. And I will buy digital gold, so blockchain gold, if I see any use case on the blockchain, like putting in a borrow account, land account to make some interest. But if it was only for holding, I will buy physical gold for the long term. So it's a
Yeah.
different approach.
Yeah, yeah. Because the way I found out about blockchain gold is through Swissborg. They have one of the copy trading strategies where they hedge Bitcoin with the crypto gold asset. And I was just wondering, is there any real use like for it in terms of like long-term wealth management? And I was not really sure about that. Yeah. Okay.
Again, their offer is interesting because it's rebalancing on chain directly the wallet, and
No.
so there is a balance. But at a certain moment, yes, how much gold that you want to keep on chain, and what you want to secure. And if you are looking to secure a part of your investment in gold, it's always better to have the physical position.
Mhm. And we kind of started talking about crypto already. And I'm just wondering, being in Switzerland, I know you were in Geneva and now you moved to Zurich. And Switzerland has a very unique legal landscape for crypto, and there's so many different interesting crypto entrepreneurs here, like Cyrus Fazal, for example, who I met. And I'm just wondering, how do you see the future of crypto evolving? Because there's many different perspectives. Some hardcore crypto fans are very libertarian; they're against the government intervention, and they want it to be outside of the government. I kind of used to be like this, like before I turned 18. And then and then there's people who believe in strong regulation, but then it kind of defeats a lot of the purpose of crypto. I just wonder where you stand here and how do you see it develop?
You know, my position comes from the gold industry. So the gold industry is very regulated, as crazy. And you can, I think, a certain moment you will not even being able to accept cash for a payment in exchange of gold. For at Gold Avenue, we don't accept. We didn't say we don't accept cash, but there is still companies that used to do that. Now, for me, it's 100%. I have no doubt they will regulate more and more. And you already saw in Europe last year, not this year, to start this new regulation where exchange that accept more than 1,000 euro in crypto need to do the KYC and so on and so on. And what will happen? And again, I'm pretty sure about that. Um, the blockchain is incredible because it's fully transparent. Okay,
Yeah.
but as soon as you touch with one of your address an exchange, like Binance, for example, and you have to KYC on the exchange, anyone smart enough can connect your on-chain operation with your real life identity. And so it's a certain moment you will not be anonymous anymore, for sure.
Yeah.
And the only one that will still be anonymous will be the one that are hiding something, and regulator will start to focus on them, and they will be blocked by exchange or legal companies, and they will be kind of stuck on change on chain. So I'm really pretty sure that there will be more and more regulation around blockchain and digital identity.
Yeah. And what use cases do you see? Because over the last few years, most of the use of crypto was, first of all, speculation. I think that is one of the biggest ones. Some use it for investment, but that's mainly the people with a lot of patience, and there's not a lot of people with a lot of patience, unfortunately. And but the actual use cases that everyone is promising, because the main selling point of most of crypto and blockchain products is that it is on crypto related and that it is on blockchain, which is not a selling point for me, at least. For me, selling point is bigger, better, faster. So do you see any developments in that sense in the crypto industry?
Yeah, honestly, I'm very bullish on Web3 if AI and quantum computer don't disrupt everything, because I think there is still a pretty inherent risk that AI and quantum will, be able to to put a lot of blockchain out of the space, because you will need a quantum resistant blockchain at a certain moment. And I also think we will see quantum computers sooner than later. Um, but then I also really hope that one day, for example, see the election. It's just crazy that in 2024 you go with a paper in a center where you write the name of someone, and you don't present the ID in certain places. You have someone counting. You have blockchain for that. Fully transparent.
Yes.
And it is just crazy that everyone is focusing on speculation, and no one is really bringing a real solution, on-chain solution that have that. Or even my passport, my card for the train, everything. Why should I have hundreds of different apps with different cards, with different just to connect to myself? One day, I also believe that you will have Swiss that will have his own blockchain, and everything related to your persona will be connected to an address, and your salary maybe will go directly on chain, and your taxes will be directly taken from there, and it's clear from, there is this balance where when we will have too much control from the state, but and what are the liberty that we want to keep, but moving as a society to a digital world, it's pretty obvious that you will have more and more control on your digital space.
Yeah. 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 As long as blockchain is implemented in a transparent, decentralized way, I think I'm willing to trust the government. But I think the trend that we see right now in many countries, in China, for example, with WeChat, where you can do most of the things uh, that cater to your life on one app, and of course, all of that data is no longer yours. I think with the Dutch government, they also have an official app where you can do most of the legal work. In Switzerland, it's still kind of old school with letters and going to commune, which I think has some charm as well. I kind of like it, just going to the commune, saying bonjour, like waiting in the line. But yeah, I agree. The future is indeed scary and fascinating. Yes, yes.
In that,
Yeah, I was just thinking, don't you notice that over the last 2 years, we had so many terrible things happening, so many distractions, wars, and disease and stuff. But over the last 2 years, we have made an insane amount of progress technologically. It was like a huge leap. If you told me all of these things would be happening 2, 3 years ago, I wouldn't believe it. And yet people act as if life has always been the same, even though I think we are going like on this train 300 miles fast ahead and there is no brakes. What did we have? We had a leap in the AI. We had reusable spaceships. Now we're having humanoids, and everything is getting digitalized. Have you seen the VR set, Meta Quest?
yeah, 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 I saw it.
They reduced the price of the Oculus by Apple by 10%, 10 times reduced it, so it's $300, and it works better. So now suddenly there's this whole element of virtual reality where you can just work, live, and exist online. Like, what's considering all of that? How do you feel about the future?
It's a trick question. This No, for one side, very excited because, as you said, we don't realize that we have water, we have food, we can travel, we can call together, we have access to hospital service and everything else. It's really impressive. Now, so it's exciting to be alive right now and to see these gadgets. Is that really exciting? But on the other hand, I also believe these changes will not help humanity itself. You're already seeing right now. I saw this post that was pretty cool where a girl was writing, I want AI to do my laundry, and so I can focus on art and writing, and not the other way around. Now AI is doing my art and writing, and I'm focusing on loneliness. And I see a huge amount of jobs, and that will completely disappear. And I am not very confident that we will see the same amount of new jobs that will appear at the same time, because I really believe AI is way better than anything else. It's a thousand way more intelligent of me and you put together. And so what will happen when you will have more and more people that lose their job? You will have to introduce a standard salary, probably. Where do you take Yeah, exactly. Where do you take this money? Not from the rich, because the rich will all be in Dubai, probably. And one of the projects that is fascinating, but also um, that scare me, is the Neom in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia, where they are creating Iceland, new cities, and everything is so incredible and luxurious, and that exactly this is the place for the rich,
Yeah,
because
the interstellar spaceship, pretty much.
yeah, it's 100% of that.
Yeah,
And if you check on the Instagram, it's fascinating. It's wow, it's beautiful. It's like Dubai right now. It's everything extreme, but you also realize that exactly there is a very limited amount of people that will live this extreme experience, and
yeah,
to support that, you will have or humanoid or human. Actually, is the case in Dubai. You have plenty of human working in the shadows,
Yeah.
and so I think then at a certain moment they will need to protect this area to avoid external people or poor people to access to it. And uh, it's it's strange. It's strange. It's scary that we are going in this direction. But honestly, I don't see how we cannot go there.
That's the dilemma I had as well. I asked myself, I looked around, I talked to some people, just regular people around me, my friends, people at the events. Nobody's even asking that question. And it feel like everyone just subconsciously already answered it for themselves. It's like the human nature. You can't stop it.
Yeah.
Yes. And yeah. And I'm wondering just, yeah, I lost my trail of thought because this is a very heavy conversation. I think about it every once in a while. And I'm just wondering, because you're 10 years older than me. So, and because I'm a Russian born, and just generally in terms of progress, Russia is like behind the West like 10 years ago. So I think you being born, you're Italian, but I assume you might have been born in the Swiss part of Italy,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Cioè, the Italian part of Switzerland.
Italian part of Italy. Yeah,
No, Italian part of Switzerland.
Italian
Yeah.
part of Switzerland. Where exactly?
Lugano, Lugano.
Lugano, yeah. So you were born before most of the computers were everywhere in every household, before you can have a phone and call anyone. And now suddenly you've lived in that pre digital technology life. And so have I until I was like 10 years old as well. And then you see all of this happening right now. And I have a younger brother who's 11 years younger than me. So we have the same gap with him that I have with you, and he was born into all that tech, into iPads, iPhones, PlayStations, and right now it is completely natural to him. And I wonder, and he does not believe the time before. And I was just thinking, the people who are going to be 10, 20 years ahead of us, we're going to seem like cavemen to them. Oh, tell me, what was it like writing on the paper? Tell me, what was it like try to find the street without Google Maps? Yeah, yeah. No, these changes, they're just scary and unstoppable. And I'm quite positive about it because I know that I can always probably go back to Switzerland where things don't change that quickly. You're like,
Yeah, politics doesn't change quickly, but everything else, honestly, is really impressive. It takes not a lot to change, you know. Even AI, you know, we started talking about ChatGPT how long ago? It's not even,
2.5 years ago,
yeah.
two
And
years ago.
at the beginning, you know, a lot of friends of me say, yeah, okay, this is a new tech thing. It will take 5, 10 years to implement. But after 2 years, everyone is using it. Everyone, just crazy. And the one that are not using it yet, they are just in a different dimension, and they are losing, you know, time because certain moment they will be forced to do that.
Yeah. I had a call yesterday with a person who was a professor in the University of Amsterdam for 10 years. And then he left academia and started this company that pretty much uses AI and behavioral economics to help big brands price their products. And he shared a really interesting perspective with me to get back to what you said about AI replacing jobs. He said that because AI can do all the technical parts so well, what's going to count is the authenticity of your idea. But then again, how many people do have authentic ideas? This is a sort of skill set that is not really taught in traditional education whatsoever. But then I was scared for last 10 years that I don't know how to code, I'm screwed. And now suddenly I can code, but my ideas are solid, you know? So I feel like it can empower a lot of people who have good ideas. But then the scary thing is that everyone says, "Oh, I can pursue my arts and my creativity." But for example, in Switzerland, I know many friends who have plenty of free time, and so few people actually pursue creativity. And to be really good in a creative task like arts and music, you need certain amount of friction and pain to create something beautiful. You can't just be happy drinking your wine and looking at the Lac Léman and just suddenly produce a masterpiece that Beethoven made when he was deaf. Like it just doesn't equate. And like the nature of creativity and authenticity, how do you see that in the future?
Again, I think I'm very bullish on tangible. or authenticity, the fact that you will meet people and you will deal with people because you know them. And when it comes creativity, I think, yes, you can be more creative with AI, but how much is your creativity? How much is AI, percentage? Because we all have access to that. And so
Yes, it's not.
I don't know how much we will still have this creativity to nourish the AI ourselves. And at a certain moment, probably the AI will nourish herself or itself. and and then, yeah, the big question: what are we going to do if a certain moment we have more time or more free time? Are we
Yeah.
going to do more shopping? Are we going to spend more time in nature? It looks like we're not doing more children, and this is something else that's really scare me, because if you say, you check all the statistic on population, uh, you really see the collapse of humanity. Yeah, the human race. And also, one thing that really scared me is that we experimented with the COVID, having all the hospitals, plenty of people that were sick at the same time. But it was just an anticipation of what will happen in the next 15 years, because the result is boomers, or the baby boom uh, uh,
Generation.
generation that will get sick and at the same time. And so one of my big question is, AI and automation will help us in the next 15 years to take care of this human or not? And then here where it comes authenticity. When you are 80 years old or 90 years old, dying, what do you want, or who do you want taking care of you? A person, a real human being with emotion, or a humanoid of Elon Musk that is treating you like a piece of meat? So and I really think we will have a shift in value in a lot of tangible things, and this
Yeah.
aspect where
Yeah.
nurse and doctors are being underpaid and under considered for a long time, and all bankers, finance, tech companies are doing millions, and they're working like crazy, and they are still underpaid. And I think we will see a shift at the same time, with all these jobs that are considered, like, used to be considered by my grandmother, for example, the low profile jobs like gardening, the electrician, and so on and so on.
Yeah. So a lot of shift to tangible, but also from financial to social. Like what relationships do you have? How do you make people feel? A lot more focus on the human side as opposed to efficiency side, because efficiency side is taken care of. And now I'm just wondering, considering all of that, you worked in Gold Avenue for 7 years, grew the business to 500 million in turnover over the last 7 years, and sharing all your insights about the future. What's your plan right now? Where do you feel like you're moving? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very hard question to answer. So I stepped down as CEO of Gold Avenue at the end of September, and I had no plan, and I have no plan at the moment. I really want to, see what is happening around, and I am also aware that for all tech companies, mostly we say it takes 3 to 5 years to build up a tech company, and the time it became so critical with AI and what you were saying before, this train at 300 kilometers per hour. So the, we had less and less time to prove certain business, and I'm not very sure that I will find myself working in tech, but I see more working or investing in. For me, crucial will be hospitality for
Oh,
all people,
oh,
for younger yeah, all people are gonna be huge because there will
man's
be.
thinking ahead. Damn, that's so right. It's just it was in front of my face and I never even thought about it. But yes, yeah,
But even if you think about animals, we have people having less and less children, and if you take South Korea, for example, where the population is already collapsing, you have more trolley for dogs than trolley for babies. Can you imagine? And again, if you want to work, you need someone that take care of your dog because your dog is becoming your new baby. You see?
That is wild. Yes.
At the same time, I don't know if you have a lot of friends now, 24 years old, probably not, but I have 30 years, 34, and all my friends are having babies,
Yeah.
and they want their baby to be treated like, the rock star. At the same time, they want to work because now both wife and husband work. And so there is a huge demand for kindergarten. I would say the school for babies, kindergarten, and there is not enough capability. And so if you take these three segments, there is a hospitality where you have younger generation that want to travel more and more and experiment everything because you see Instagram, you want to do everything as the other. Babies that are treated like rock star with parents that want to work as much as possible to be able to bring them around the world and seeing whatsoever. Boomers and baby boom that will become older, and so there will be a lack in structure for elderly people, and animals that are taking a role more and more important for future generations. So, and this is all tangible. And yes, AI will solve some technical issue and will help more scalability, but you will need people working there. And so I think there is something very interesting to be done there.
Mhm. The way our lifestyles have changed our demands for uh, with children and stuff like that. Yeah, it's really interesting. And I'm just wondering, you're a serial entrepreneur. You've built a pretty successful business with Gold Avenue. And right now, what would be your advice to someone in their early 20s who is studying in university, perhaps just finished, who has an idea, who wants to have a good life? Good balanced life in the future, doesn't want to be a billionaire, obviously, just a good quality of life with financial stability. Considering everything that is happening right now, what would be your advice to those people?
I had a call 2 days ago with a guy of 27 years old, asking himself exactly the same question. And he was working, or he's still working on AI consulting because he's making good money out of it. And I told him, find your passion. Everyone has a passion. I am a fisherman, hunter. I love nature and plenty of other things. And find your own passion, and then check what there is in this industry that can motivate you, and then reach all the one that made it in this industry. I don't know if you love dancing, get in touch with all the biggest dancer worldwide,
Yeah.
and then once you're in touch with them, you ask them this exactly same question, saying, okay, I want to be big in the dancing industry because this is my passion. If you, big boss, you were back at my age with this industry, what will you do? And it's very important to follow something that is connected to your passion, because you need this drive every day, for working like we do as crazy. You need this drive to say, okay, I work because I'm doing something that passion me, and the people around my business are passionate about the same thing I am passionate. And so then business, after work, events, everything merged together. You don't feel any more like working.
Hmm. Yeah, because I was very lucky to have a father who is an entrepreneur as well, and he really instilled all these qualities in me. That if you are curious about something, go and text someone on social media, meet them, uh, write a plan, show someone something, create. But most of the people, even right now in the business faculty, I'm studying business administration in Amsterdam. I don't see even many people who study business have that quality. This seems like a quality that a minority of people has, which makes me wonder what's going to happen to the rest of the people, you know?
Yeah, they will be hired by people like you that are following their own dreams in a specific industry. Because at a certain moment, if you launch a business in the dancing industry, you will hire colleagues of you that they don't care a shit about dancing, and they will just come to work because they are paid well.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. And then I'm just wondering, the final question would be, Does the future scare you?
No, no, it doesn't scare me. Uh, we are lucky enough to be in the best epoch ever, where we have everything. We're healthy. Uh,
Yeah.
if you want, you can go to Bali and you live on a beach and come back to Switzerland whenever you want. Um, so I'm taking, the European. If you take, there is still a lot of poverty around the world, but let's take in Europe.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's a transition period, and I think today you never had so many opportunities to build up company around your own dream. Go back 100 years, you were passionate about, hunting, but if you were poor, is finished. Now you have YouTube that is teaching you everything. You don't even have to pay the university uh, fee. You have AI that help you build website. You have LinkedIn. You can get in touch with anyone just with an email, with a in message. You
Yeah.
you have access to funds because everyone want to invest, and you just have a list on data with all the VC. So there is no excuse. There is no excuse. If you want to build up your own future, you can do it. It takes effort. It will be complicated. There will be people, with more opportunity than other because they have, as me and you, maybe a family with a
Mm.
background that helped us,
Yeah.
taking the start. But I see every day successful story on YouTube, on Instagram,
Yeah.
on TikTok, whatever. And just take this guy, what's the name? Khalid, the one doing like that with the hands. Now he's testing. No, no, sure. uh, the colored one that during COVID was just without even speaking on TikTok. Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes. The French guy, right? He was.
I think it's an African guy that
He's like from Cameroon, but now he's in France. Yes, I know, and I have no idea what his name. I don't have TikTok, but even I've seen him. I've seen him in Paris for an ad, a banner ad of Dior, like that,
yeah, can you
which is
imagine?
pretty wild. Yes,
It's wild. 100 years ago, this would have been impossible. And again, it's one out of millions. But honestly, there is plenty, plenty, plenty of people that you have access to everything. If you want to do it something, you can do. You can, download Shopify, and tomorrow you can start selling your,
yeah,
you do whatever you want. You produce some jewels, you launch Shopify, and you can start selling worldwide. When in the history of the world you have these abilities? So no, it's gonna be strange times ahead, but exciting at the same time. And I think the one that are smart and that are curious, they will always find a way to,
yeah.
get ahead and make themselves a beautiful life.
Yeah, yeah. Because it seems right now so many young people, I think, are more negative than ever. I think generally people around me, I think my generation is really empathetic. So then when they see bad things happening, they naturally process it through them, which I don't do thanks to my Russian parents and my Russian background. And a lot of people are really sad, really depressed. They feel hopeless. Even though I think to myself, there's more opportunities than ever. I told my friends, I'm gonna call a guy who started one of the biggest gold businesses in Football right now. And like, what's your excuse? And there's all.
And you know what is the difference? And I heard this sentence on a on a TikTok or Instagram, is that
You,
th- there are consumer and producer. You're now producing a podcast, you know, and you're creating content that someone will consume. And then there will be the consumer that will turn to producer, and they will find this, willingness to do something. And then there will be the consumer that keep only consuming, and they see the life of all these stars of Logan and on Instagram, on Facebook, and say, "Ah, wow, I would also want to have this life." And so they are so frustrated because it feels to be so away of their reality.
yeah.
But what you are doing is great. It's really cool, and I support that.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think just the general message is be positive, be curious, take the risky step, and right things will happen, which kind of is exactly the same thing that people have been saying for the last 1,000 years.
It's just, it's produced. It's always there will always be producer, and there will always be consumer. A consumer will always consume, and producer will sell something to someone, and will deliver something to someone that will use it.
Yeah. All right. I think this is a beautiful conclusion for this podcast. I really thank you for your time, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. So
What a pleasure, Matthew.